it's always a good day when you get to come over and we get to sit around and sip on some whiskeys.
The best days of the week.
Every time. I circle them on my calendar. I'm like, all right, this is a day we get to dive into some things. And sometimes it's things that I've had, and a lot of times it's things I haven't had. Yeah. So I think, good on us for bringing stuff new to the table, exploring things. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's how we learn, So it's it's something that if you didn't find these, if I didn't bring some of the stuff, I mean, some of the stuff I bring you've never heard of, some stuff you bring I've never heard of. So it's and it looks like we're getting some interesting stuff today.
Right? I think so, yeah.
Some ryes here in front of us. So.
I think so. And thank you all for tuning into the Mojo Whiskey Bar. We appreciate you tuning in. While you're at it, you might as well like, share, subscribe. Pretty easy to do. Helps us out a whole bunch. And it's really painless for you. Just click a couple buttons. If you don't know if you're subscribed or what have you, just reach out to Jamie, reach out to me, and we'll walk you through it if need be. But it should be pretty simple and straightforward. But yes, if you recall, this was one of my favorite whiskeys of 2024. And this is the Walleye Run pot distilled malted rye whiskey aged 7 years. And it is 92 proof. This is produced by New Holland Distillery. And I had heard that they had a couple of different expressions of this whiskey. And the last time we were up in Michigan, I stopped at the New Holland tasting room that they have in Saugatuck, place where our house is. And they had the two other expressions. Perfect. So we'll dive into each of those. But let's refresh our memory on the first one.
Yeah. And so this one, I think, is starting to be more and more easily accessible here locally.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that you think you saw it at Total Wine or something like that, right?
Yeah, which is good.
Yeah, so not to beat a dead horse. If you haven't seen us talk about these, you can check out some of the videos we did at the end of 2024, where we reviewed Jamie's top 4 and my top 4. This is one of my top 4. But we talk all about it, but we're going to mention a little bit about it today since we've got it poured here in the glass. But
yeah, that to me, I always go back to a salted dough. I mean,
salted dough.
It is just
it's like pretzel dough, salted.
Gosh, it is.
I mean, I get the grape. It's like a grape. Mm-hmm. It's almost like a taffy for me. I think a little bit more.
And the grape I get, it's more of a those smaller white grapes that are seeded a little bit.
Yeah.
And so, but it's there. I mean, it's a really good nose. It's a different nose than what a lot of ryes are.
100%. I gotta believe it's because it's malted rye. Because there's not the traditional rye spice on the nose. No. It's a very soft sweetness on the nose, salty, doughy, grapey. All right. Enough talking about what it smells like. Let's remind everybody what it tastes like. It's so smooth.
For a rye. You go to drink it. There's no harshness at all for a rye. I mean,
it's very smooth.
Yeah, it's extremely smooth.
You don't get the burn.
No, you don't get the burn. A lot of the notes that are on the nose come through on the palate.
Carry through for sure.
Yeah,
and it's a long finish too. I think
a long finish, and that's outstanding.
Yeah. All right. So that's the base. So the next expression. Put on my little reading glasses here. We have the, did it say very small batch too? No, it does not. So this one actually says very small batch. I don't know what that means, but this is also Walleye Run, malted rye whiskey, aged 7 years. Excuse me. This one's a little bit more on the proof, so we're going to bump up to 105 on the proof. This is their double barrel expression. So it's aged 7 years in char 3 barrels. And finished in toasted oak barrels. So we don't know how long it's finished, doesn't say, but this is the double barrel variety. It's kind of cool that they have a few different expressions. And I know you and I have sampled a few different New Holland things over the years, or year or so. Yeah, I think it's an up and comer.
I do too.
I think it's an up and comer.
Yeah, they're putting out some really good stuff.
They really are, and I know they have some single malts. And if you watched our last video, we dove into, I think, our first official single malt on the Mojo Whiskey Bar channel. Maybe dive into some more, but they have a couple of bourbons that are good, and this rye has been phenomenal. Really good. So, all right, let's try this double barrel. Nose is quite a bit different.
It is. Maybe not quite as salty, but there's still a little dough there.
The dough's there. I don't get the fruitiness, at least not a grape.
No, it's more almost an earthy to me.
And I'm getting a little bit of wood. More oakiness, I think, on this one. Yeah. Maybe it's suggested because it's on the label, but I think there is some more oakiness to it, which, if you're going to double barrel something, you would expect that. Yeah. I think that's what you're going for when you do that.
Yeah.
But to me, this has more of a traditional rye whiskey nose on it. Yeah. I get some rye spice on this one.
Some rye spice. It's not overbearing to me, and I don't get a lot of pepper on the nose and that type.
It's like the baking spices more.
Yeah, baking spices.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's do it. I can tell it's a relative.
Yeah, it's a cousin. Yeah, it is definitely. It's a little hotter, not overbearingly hotter.
It's to be expected from a proof point.
But to me, the heat stays right up front. It doesn't. The heat doesn't really travel a ton for me.
Right.
It's extremely smooth.
The oakiness comes through.
Yeah.
But not in. You can tell it's. I would say that even though this is double, double barrel, it's not like a lot of double oaked stuff. Mm-mm. A lot of other double oak stuff is going to taste way more oaky. Comparing this to its cousin or sister or brother or whatever, sibling, there's a lot more oakiness on it. But I would not, had I not known that this was double barrel, I don't know that I would say this is double oaked, if that makes
sense.
Correct.
No, it does. It does. It's to me, it's really smooth, but the
look at the legs on that thing too.
Yeah, it's very viscous, and so the for me it doesn't. The heat just, I keep going back to that. The heat just doesn't travel, and I expected it to travel a little bit.
Yeah,
and it doesn't hurt the taste of this at all.
No,
but a lot of the grape notes are not there for me.
But there's a little bit of fruitiness, but it's not grape.
It's not grape, and I'm not. Yeah, I haven't really.
It's almost maybe like maybe a little bit of an apricot or some sort of pit fruit. I think maybe a little plum.
Yeah, but it's definitely not a grape. You're right.
Yeah.
And you almost get a little bit of a clove off of it, or I don't know, some kind of a baking spice, like you said. But
it's pretty good.
It's really pretty good.
It's pretty good.
It's
and I don't. We talked about this one being. You're starting to see this more in the wild, at least in our neck of the woods. I think these are probably going to be pretty hard to find.
I was going to say, I'm not saying I don't want them.
I'm guessing you're going to have to go to somewhere up in Michigan, to New Holland, either the distillery or to one of their tasting rooms to find these. Yeah. And they had a decent amount in Saugatuck when I picked these up. But the guy working there was like, hey, these are limited release. So I don't know how often or frequent they're going to come out with things like this. But anyway, I'm glad to pick that one up.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do the third expression here. This is Walleye Run, very small batch once again, malted rye whiskey, aged 7 years. Once again, we're coming in at 105 proof, and this is their cigar batch. So this says aged 7 years in char 3 barrels and finished in a blend of Amburana, Armagnac, I never say that very well, and sherry cask, which I think is anything that's labeled as a cigar batch. I think those are pretty common finishes, some variation of those.
So basically the difference between these two is just the finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's my understanding.
Yeah, that's the way it looks. Still 105 on the proof.
Yeah.
So. Well, to me, I get that sherry nose.
Oh, absolutely. Anything that's finished in a sherry cask, it comes through really strong. You get it's like a bright, it's almost like a strawberry type fruit. And I don't know why they call it cigar batches when they come out with these, but I get tobacco notes.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if that's why they call it that.
I don't know how they got them,
but I get some tobacco notes, like
tobacco that's been hanging or something.
Yeah, Red Man or something. I don't think they call it Red Man anymore, but whatever that's called, like pouch, something that leaf tobacco. Not so much. I mean, some cigars have that note to it, but I do get the tobacco notes.
Yeah, you do.
Dare I say, I almost get a little bit of leather on this one too, which I've had.
Yeah, you walk in a leather shop, I can see this.
I've had probably, trying to think, 3 or 4 different cigar finish whiskeys over the years, and that's kind of a classic note.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, the sherry is to me is like the key role.
It makes the nose really, really pleasant, and then that dried tobacco, that leather kind of sneaks in there and really rounds it out. It's a really interesting nose.
I'm positive that because of what these two are together, the rye spice is there. The sherry kind of buries it a little bit. Yeah. So I'm interested to see how it does come through on the palate.
Yeah. Well, there's one way to find out.
Yeah.
See, this drink's way hotter to me.
It does. I get almost a hint of cinnamon in this.
I get some cinnamon,
but it does drink hotter.
The fruit is there. It's subtle to me. The fruitiness, and again, I'm picking up strawberry. Yeah. I think as the fruit note, it's like a really ripe strawberry at the beginning for me, and then mid to late palate, it's almost like a bitter, not quite ripe strawberry.
Yeah, it's odd. It does change. It changes. I mean, front to back, it changes completely.
And some of that leather, some of that tobacco. I mean, it's not the dominant flavor, but it carries through for me. Yeah. There's a little bit of that in there too. But it drinks hotter.
It drinks hotter. I don't get a real oakiness out of it.
No.
I don't get a ton of the rye spice in it. I mean, it's hotter, obviously. So
you said cinnamon though, right?
Yeah, I did say. I mean, so I get more of a cinnamon out of this. The fruit, the strawberry, it's there.
It's really good too.
I was going to say, to me, it's so different than from the other two offerings. And each of them are very good in their own, but these two are more together than I would say this ties to the other two for me.
This is, I think, said a different way. The cigar batch is the most unique flavor profile of the three. Yeah. I would agree.
Yeah, and it's
like I would not have necessarily picked this up as connected to these other two.
No, I wouldn't either, because there's so much more. The heat, and I think it's driven by to me, it's driven by like a cinnamon.
Yeah.
But, and it does. That sherry kind of translates to almost, like you said, a strawberry in different phases of its life.
Yeah.
Depending on where it is. And so that is really good. That's
Do you have a favorite of the three?
Would probably be this one.
I think it's the most complex flavor profile.
Yeah.
Because what I find with that one, and I agree with you, these are both really good. Don't mishear me. Yeah. But what I like about this one is there's layers to it.
There's layers. I mean, you could have 4 or 5 drinks here, and each time you take a drink, a completely different note comes to your mind.
Yeah, it's a fun one. It would be a fun one to kind of sip on a Friday or Saturday night, and just small pours. Let it sit in that glass for a while, slow sip it, because it's to me a lot more complex than the other two, and the other two are really fantastic.
Really good. They're different, obviously, from the first to the third one, but each their own. They're very good.
Yeah,
they're very good. You couldn't go wrong on any of these three.
Yep.
Now, are we looking at a huge jump in cost from the base?
I don't think they were crazy. I should do a better job of remembering price. If memory serves, I want to say these were 70 something.
Okay. That seems about right for a small batch.
If memory, this was maybe a little bit closer to 50-ish, but I'm making that up a little bit. I've had a lot of whiskey since I bought those.
Yeah.
But which you would kind of expect if it's kind of a special release like these two are. You would expect that to be a little bit higher price, and they've emphasized on the bottle a couple places very small batch. But I don't think it's crazy. Okay. And I for what I paid, I feel like that's a good bottle at that price.
You did not go wrong on those at all. Very good offerings. I look for some big things out of these guys.
I think they're the up and comer, and we've got a video planned here in the not too distant future where we'll remind ourselves of one of their special releases from 2023, and then one I was able to find that I've actually kind of, I don't want to say I've been hunting for, but every time I go to Michigan, I'm looking for it. And every time I go up there, like, nope, we don't have any more of that. But they actually had it the last time I was up there. So there's some really good things that they're producing right now. I think they're one to look out for. New Holland Distillery. They make a lot of, if you're a craft beer person, they've been making great craft beer for a long time. I don't know how long they've been in the whiskey world, but since I've come across them, some good stuff, and I think it's one to keep an eye on.
They've figured it out. I mean,
they have figured it out.
To move from just guys that brew beers into distilled spirits, they figured it out. Yeah. So it's good.
Yeah, and if you visit Southwest Michigan, I mean, New Holland is based in Holland, Michigan. They have, I haven't done a tour there, but they have a pretty good presence in Holland, Michigan. They have tasting rooms. They have one in South Haven, Michigan, that I know of. They also have one in Saugatuck. So they're, at least on the southwest part of Michigan, they have a couple of different spots that you can go in and try things. So if you ever get up to that neck of the woods, definitely poke your head into one of the New Holland places and see what they have, because there's good stuff.
Yeah, I'm going to make a trip up there.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. So, all right. Thank you all.
I see you find a house.
Oh, wait. Yeah. Well, I know of one. So anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off, but check it out. If you want to go up there sometime, let me know. I'm sure we can work something out. I know a guy.
All right. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.